Hi, another week, another episode. My name is Anyona Bulungu,
And my name is Wangeshi Karemi.
and this is the Speak Up Africa podcast. Now, remember to follow us across all our social media platforms at Speak Up Africa.
Africa with a K.
Insistent, the K is always constant. Now, Wangeshi, I want to ask you something.
Okay. I love how you just, let's go.
How do you save your money? Do you even save
do
it?
I honestly don't. I don't save my money. I spend what
Why?
I have and then I wait for the others to come and move on because the economy is difficult. Life is difficult, but I do invest.
Mhm.
So that's the closest to savings because when I know money is somewhere,
Mhm.
I am already planning for it. I am the kind of people that count for least as part of my money. So you can imagine, am I saving?
You are preaching to the choir.
Yeah, so
No, but how do you invest? You mentioned you invest. I just want to know that part first.
I know a person
Mhm.
who trades.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we a group of us.
you're the guys who
got
tell
to-
us how to make millions with
Not
1,000
necessarily.
shillings.
So we do currency trading.
Mhm.
So there's a group of us that it's a team of people. So we do a lot of currency trading.
Mhm.
So because I don't know how to do currency trading, you give money to someone else and then you share the
And if
percentage.
they con you, you trust people like
It's
that?
a group. I want to say a group of people that we're not necessarily registered. So I would have said an organization, but we have been doing this for a while. So
So you have money.
yeah,
These are
and then
you're the people who tell us how to make millions.
But
Okay,
which
so
millions?
I asked you that because I want to talk about the East African youth and how they handle money.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually a topic we need to discuss. The money matters topic.
So
Money matters.
So because we started with savings, let's exhaust savings.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how many do you know different forms of savings, different ways of savings?
People save in different ways. Some of them just join the Chama. This is a society and a group of young people that come together to save on circles, like the Cosmopolitan Circle, the Tower Circle, name them. There's so many. The ones I'm naming are very specific to Kenya, but there are so many circles out there that you can just get in as a group of people or even as an individual, and you agree this is the amount of money that I ought to be saving every single month. So every single month, we anticipate that you're going to be giving the circle this amount of money. And from then, you get dividends every year. And from then also, you also get like, you can withdraw your money. There's certain, logistics that come from that, but that is the one major one that I know of. And then the bank. And then we have mobile money. Nowadays, they have so many platforms to save. Your bank, your banking, your bank can have a mobile money
You can't
system.
speak.
Your bank can have a mobile money system. So that is one way. And then we also have the mobile money through our communication lines like Safaricom, the Telecom,
MTN.
MTN, yeah. So there's so many ways people save, but most of them are saved via the bank because it's not easily accessible to get the money from there. And just because of the ease of saving, mobile money is also another one that is coming up. So I think the East African youths save through those ones, and then the circle comes there down below because people are still getting to know about it.
Wait, mobile money comes at the bottom?
No, circles come at the bottom. The
Okay.
mobile money, I think today it's quite.
No.
Where do you
What
save
I
your
think
money?
is before I get to that, what I think is when it comes to circles, it's only at the bottom when it comes to the youth.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that is why I
specifically,
think that's what you're saying. But when other people outside of that bracket, like the older generation, they definitely do save through circles and
Yes,
chamas
they
and
do.
all of that. Yeah, but young people mostly don't. So I save through money market funds. And this is the reason why I don't like saving through the bank. Because I feel like my money is depreciating in value. In the sense that, see, if I'm going to save, say, 50,000 Kenyan shillings, I will have exactly that 6 months from now. Like I'm assured my money is there. No one is taking my money. It's going nowhere. But I have exactly that. But this is the thing. Just look at the situation of the economy. What 1,000 bob afforded you 5 months
Today.
ago
Oh, yeah.
is not the same thing it can afford you now.
Yeah.
And if I placed that 5 months ago, I'm still going to have that now, but I'm not going to be able to afford the same things that I was able to afford 5 months ago. we are pretty much in a dilapidated economy. So for me, I think money market funds, and it's really rising. It's really rising among the
Actually,
youth.
yeah, I've heard about them. I've heard about money
Yeah,
market
it's really
funds.
rising
Can you
about
just give us a breakdown? What exactly is money market funds? Because hearing
So
about it and really knowing about it to the extent where you entrust your money over there.
I do. I do.
Well,
I
okay,
do.
give us a
And there are
breakdown,
different. So
man.
let me tell you,
Uh-huh.
you basically put your money somewhere and it goes into use. That's the best way the easiest way I can tell you. And then it goes into use. So it accumulates an interest. So by the time you're withdrawing your money, it has an interest. So see, even the lesser the amount of money you save, the lesser your
The
interest is going
interest
to
rate,
be.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it's not going to be the exact same amount of money. You understand? Yeah, it's going to have some interest. So different MMFs have different rates when it comes to interest, different starting amounts, and all of that. Even banks do have some banks do have
Money market
MMFs.
funds.
Yeah, so I think it's a really really good way, and I actually knew it through younger people as well, like
Yeah,
through within
'cause-
our generation. And I think it's good that it's a thing, because then that my biggest take home is that your money doesn't depreciate in value.
Yeah, and I think that's important, especially with inflation happening every other second. You blink,
Yeah.
100 bob is not 100 bob anymore. It doesn't have the same value. So yeah, money market funds could go. I don't know if I have ever been involved in a money market fund of any sort.
You haven't. If you don't, you haven't.
I
If you
haven't.
don't know, you
Definitely, I
haven't.
haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking on behalf of the other community that doesn't do MMFs, we save on
The bank
mobile
community.
money. Yes, you just save it there where you can see it and then you withdraw it.
Let me tell you though, my biggest concern about all these saving options that we have, pretty much each one of them is like, you can get your money.
Yeah, that is
And
the
I'm
biggest.
like, I'm putting it there so that I'm not able to access it until
Wait,
I
can you
really
get your
need
money
it.
when you're using money market funds?
Yeah, it will just
like
take a
that?
while. Yeah, no, it's not instant.
Yeah.
Different MMFs have a different periods of time. So there's others you place in your interest to withdraw, then you can get it within 24, within 48 or 72 hours, depending. You see, and then there's those that have a minimum of how much you can withdraw, and most of them don't have a minimum of how much you can deposit, and that's one of my favorite things, because even if you have 100 shillings, you'll just place it there. When you have like
For real?
yes.
Well, that's
And you can do it
nice.
even on your phone. Like most MMFs have a way in which you can just deposit through your phone. So the thing is, it's easier to get 100 shillings and deposit today and be like, okay, I have 100 bob, I can deposit, as opposed to say, okay, when I get my salary, I'm just going to maybe just chuck 10,000 Kenyan shillings or 10,000 Ugandan shillings or
100,000.
whatever, and say I'm going to place it in a saving.
Yeah.
It's harder to do it that way. So because you have the option to just deposit as little as possible, I think that's a very big plus. Let me ask you something. There's a huge number of young people that do not save. I mean, I don't do it constantly myself, so I'm not pointing fingers.
You're not judging.
Anybody.
This is a safe space.
Safe space, guys. So there's a lot of young people who do not save. Why do you think it's so?
There's not enough money. Speaking on behalf of the young people that do not save. Speaking on behalf of the young people that do not save, we don't have money. I don't know about you, but when money becomes scarce, the problem is you don't want to take loans, so you ensure that your money runs you through until the next time that you're sure you're going to get the next money. All right?
But can it ever be sufficient?
It can never be sufficient, but it can just be adequate for the time being until when you get your next moolah. Because saving becomes like, have I met my basic needs? Have I paid my rent, for instance? Have I bought food? Have I bought clothing? When you have those basic needs and airtime, and airtime bundles, once you have those basic things, then now you can say, let me save this amount. But sometimes you find that whatever you have is just enough for that.
But this is also what I think, that it's never enough. If you want $200 to work for you, it's going to work for you. If you want 500 to work for you, it's going to work for you. If you're used to spending 100,000 Kenyan shillings within a month, that will work for you. But you could be used to that and then have 80,000 Kenyan shillings, and you want that to work for you, and it will work for you. So I feel like it's a habit.
I feel like we have
For
not,
example,
we have not
for
like
example,
gotten up to that
do you see
culture of saving.
someone can be paying rent
Uh-huh.
worth 100K, and someone else could be paying worth 150. It's possible. Yes, 150 Kenyan shillings. It's possible. There's
It
houses
could be
that cost,
150
there's houses that
Ugandan
cost
shillings.
up
That is
to
not
half
a
a
lot.
million, guys. In terms
It's not
in
a
rent.
lot. Depends.
That's what I'm saying. And then there's someone else who's paying 5,000 for rent. So I feel like it's options, because there's this, I don't know, do you know about the saving stroke budget rule, where it's the 50-30-20 rule? They say you use 50% of whatever your income is for your basic needs, for the things that you need, and then use 30% for your wants, and then 20% for savings. So make whatever your wants are fit within your 30%. And you see, your 30% doesn't have to be my 30%. So again, sometimes we create excuses. I do that a lot, but it's possible.
Let's move this conversation to sources of income. I think once we like talk about the sources of income, we will actually understand how the 50-30-20 does not make sense here.
Imagine it does.
I think it does not. And here's why. Let me tell you something. A typical Kenyan youth. Let's just use Kenyans as the pilot for this conversation. As a typical Kenyan youth who is unemployed.
No, use Uganda. I want you to use Uganda.
You know what? Values I don't have. Okay, so a typical East African youth who's unemployed, yeah? Let's just think about the meanest and the, most stupid jobs they can do, just get some moolah by the end of the day.
There's nothing like a stupid job.
Okay, the most... those people who say I am employed, yes, the most informal, yes, just that. I mean, you ask someone, are you employed? They say, no, I'm not employed. Are you working? No. Do you have a source of income? No. But by the end of the day, they have that money and they have not stolen it. We're talking about jobs like, think of something. Oh, Kupi Gasset. Do you know what that is?
No.
When a matatu is at the stage, it has to get filled. And so there are people there advertising that the matatu is filled because they have sat on those seats. You get into a matatu and it's full, but it's not going anywhere. Oh, come on. You get to a matatu,
that's a thing?
That's the thing. You literally sit there for a certain amount of shillings until the matatu is full, and then you move to the next matatu. That's money. That's
a thing?
That's where, hey, you have not suffered.
No, what do you mean? I use public transport all the time. But what I know is... what I know is... Oh my God.
People do that for a living. People do that. You go
they
there.
Call customers to fill the matatu.
No, it's not customers. You just literally go there and just do that job.
You sit in a matatu to get paid?
Yes. I cannot emphasize this anymore. You get into a matatu, you sit down, and have you ever gotten into a matatu that was full? Like, they had 2 seats left, and they keep saying there are just 2 seats left in this,
and then
and then alights, you get in, the two of you maybe you are a friend, and the matatu is not leaving, someone just alights. And then another person comes in, and then they alight, and then they light. And then next thing you know, your matatu that was full, you are the only 2 people that are common in that matatu. Everyone else is new.
Wait, are you telling me someone can have a 14-seater, for example?
Yeah.
Or say a 32-seater?
Yeah.
And then they'll get like 16 people. Because how many 14. People do you need to get it?
10. You just
to get
for a 14-seater. It's just to attract
fun.
people. For a 14-seater, you could do it with 5, 6, 7 people. And I'm telling you, those 5, 6, 7 people, you'll find them. One with a child, another one with Mzigo, everyone with...
So what PSVs are you using? Because let me tell you, I've used matatus for the longest, and I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know?
I don't.
Well, it happens. And people get paid. You find yourself sitting there for like an hour. You get paid 50 shillings, okay? And then now you get outside and you start screaming for people to join the matatu. You just came off. Screaming is the wrong word. Start yelling,
No, calling.
Calling. I'm trying to be nice, but
you start calling customers.
Yeah, you start calling customers
Passengers.
to come. And so every passenger that
passengers.
comes, you agree with the driver. You'll pay the fare is 500 Kenya shillings. So every customer that comes, you tell them you'll charge them 800, and you tell the driver, don't charge this person 900 Kenya shillings, charge them 800.
So you con people?
You con, you're not conning people. You're making interest. You're making profit. So there you've made 300 shillings. Yeah, you're calling people, not conning them.
What job is this?
The streets have not shown you anything, right?
I've never seen this.
So let's just take an example of a person that does this job.
Say the fare is meant to be 500 Kenyan shillings.
Yeah.
And then you make people pay 800.
Yeah.
So you can keep the 300.
300
You're conning.
yours. Yeah, and you get five people that can
You're
be
conning.
It's not conning.
You're conning.
It's not conning.
If this phone is worth 10,000,
you're making your profit,
and I sell it to you, but I have not bought it.
But
I didn't spend my money to get it.
But you brought the customer. It's called commissions.
So you get your commission from whatever is meant to be the said amount.
Yes.
You don't lie to people that it's supposed to be A, B, C, D.
Systems of public transport that do not have like a set on call. This is what we are doing.
But, no, guys, I have a goal to go see people doing.
You've not seen people do this. Systems of public transport that do not have like a set on call rule that this is how we are doing our things and things like that are very easy to manipulate.
No, but there's usually standard transport for X amount of distance, for an X distance.
When it is standard, like let's say it's written over, this is what we're charging. Yeah. It's okay. But when we have like rush hours, like say on a Friday when people are going back home and they're leaving the city, there's always some rush at some point, yeah? Mm-hmm. When you have that rush, you find public means of transport parking where they're not supposed to park, so they can get as many people as possible. So you, as an individual who is unemployed and you want to make your money by the end of the day, you go out and you call people, come, you're going to Nakuru,
yeah? I know.
So you can do it in two ways. Number one, you can sit in a matatu so that it looks so like people can see.
No, I mean you're making sense, but I'm just like, what?
Who wants to wait around and into a matatu that does not have people? So you make people think that it actually has people. 5 of you seated comfortably. Yeah, and that's 50 shillings. That's just 50.
Well, 100. We live and we learn.
Depending on even where you're going, you can even make 200 shillings for just sitting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, So that's a source of income. So someone like that would end up making 350 to 2,000 in a day. I've actually interrogated people who do this business for a living. You sit or you call people and you 2,000 to 2,500 in a day. And this person considers themselves unemployed, has no source of income, right?
How have a source of income, but they're not employed. It's not formal employment, but it's a source of income. I'm saying
considers themselves. Mm-hmm. See, like this is my perception. I'm unemployed. I have no source of income. So how can this person use the 50-30-20 rule when it comes to savings? Because you see, this money is unsure.
Because you see, you understand. Because you see, it's not only people who are in what we'd call smaller businesses or forms of income that don't have a standard amount of money they make in a month or in a day. There's people, I mean, even actors all the time. You want this time you have a contract, the next you don't. You have a job, the next you don't. You have to make your money work, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you have a contract for show X, mm-hmm. You're done with it, mm-hmm. And then you don't know, you have an uncertainty of what period you're going to be out of a job, mm-hmm. So whatever you're making, you mm-hmm. can still make that work for you. So you see, it's not only people in what we consider smaller jobs that don't have a standard amount of money they mm-hmm. make per day, per week, or per month, depending. So it's just possible. You can say, since I'm making my money daily, mm-hmm. but it's not standard, when I make this amount, this is what I put aside. Because that person pays rent. They can't wait till the end of the month to pay rent, because they're going to depend on money from a day's income, which is not going to be enough. So they have to then save it from what they're making daily throughout the month. So they can always say, I'll be putting, setting aside, say 100 bob for X, mm-hmm. this for Y, and this for W, Z.
This is that logistics of sitting down to plan, and you just want to eat that by the end of the day.
But you can't be lazy if you have to pay your rent. You can't be lazy to think if you want to pay your rent.
So Anyona is telling us the 50-30-20 rule. Talk to us.
I don't apply it myself all the time, but you see,
look at my face. I am disappointed. You're telling us about
that's a savings rule, and there's also we have to learn to plan. That's our biggest failure, because, for example, the East African economy right now is very shaky. Mm-hmm. We don't know what the future holds for us. we're going to still be the ones to provide for ourselves.
Actually,
and
I saw,
even the near
I saw
future
a
of
meme.
like a month away,
Uh-huh.
the near future of like 2 weeks away. Because I mean, for example, in Kenya, you've been seeing how prices have been fluctuating all the time.
This one's
Today it's
like-
flour, tomorrow it's oil, the next day it's sugar.
unsureness, the job insecurity. You don't know where you're going to be tomorrow. I was saying, I saw a meme that said, in East Africa, you try and save. This month you save, next month that money saves you. And that
Yes.
is literally the
But
trend.
let me tell you, that happens. So you can't say, because my money saved me, then I'm not going to save. And then that time that you'll
It's
expect
not
your
like you're
money
not
to
going to
save
save.
you.
It's just it's going to save you someday. So it's literally doesn't count as a saving.
No,
Because
it does. Because that time it saved you, it was still a saving.
it was a saving. So
It
just
was.
save despite the fact that it's going to come and save you later.
But that's
on.
the whole point. You can't be putting it aside to stay there
Why are we
forever.
putting money aside then if it's just going to use it in a different time?
Because emergencies do happen, because stuff does come up. Where you are today, it's not where you're going to be tomorrow, and you're going to have different things to pay for. You think you're responsible right now and you're paying your rent and whatever,
I'm a
blah, blah, blah,
child.
blah, blah.
Child.
By the time you have kids, you have school fees to pay, you have diapers to buy or whatever.
And we just said in this
So
podcast,
bills-
kids,
no, wait,
it's not happening.
I'm giving you an example.
Uh-huh.
Even 2 years from now, you probably won't be living in the same house you're living in now. Your rent
Yes.
is going to be higher,
Amen.
right?
Yes. Amen. Yes.
You're probably going to have a car. So you see, you didn't
Amen.
have car expenses now, you'll have them then,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The way you're saving now won't be the same way.
Okay, well. When you
You
say it
just
like
have
that,
to,
when you say it like that, I
because
have to save.
the
I don't
future
think
is-
I really
and
have
the
an
future
option.
is so uncertain. You must.
In
must.
our last
I
podcast, we
don't,
said
but
that the
you
problem
must.
with the youth, we're always calling out people. We're always saying, this one did this, the economy did that, the government did this and that. We're not taking measures into our own hands. I think it's time for you to save. When was it? 31st of October. That was World Savings Day. Yeah, we on World Savings Day, we asked you to start saving up. There's no better time to begin.
Is it the
than
1st or
now.
29th? I feel like it's 29th actually.
That day, we asked you to save on all our social media platforms. This is at Speak Up Africa, Africa with a K. Take a look at that post and tell us, do you save your money and where do you save your money? In East Africa, I don't save my money, but I think I will start because you've told me that I will get a car and I will have car expenses and I have said amen to that. So now because of that, we'll start saving. But let's talk about the things that take this money away from, the savings pot.
That's your expenditure. And you see, there's also a rule to that. You guy.
Why do you do this for everything?
For example,
Uh-huh.
if you think about it, not if you think about it, the truth of the matter is that rent is one of the things that takes up a lot of young people's income.
Is there a percentage that your income is
Yes,
supposed to...
there's two different rules.
Let's hear them.
One is that it shouldn't be more than a third of what you're making.
Why?
The other one is that it shouldn't be more than a quarter. So if you think about it, a third is a favor. So, if you are making 40,000 Kenyan shillings, if you're making standard amount, if you're making $400, your rent should not be more than $100.
I'm just doing mathematics, and things are not adding up. I'm seeing where my money goes.
Yeah, so
I'm living like I'm spending money like a rich person, and I do not have
above
the
your
funds
means.
above
That's
my means.
That's our biggest mistake as a youth. And then you see, we're going to point fingers. I'm not being paid enough. I mean, it's probably true.
It's probably true. It
But
is
you're
true.
pointing fingers to everyone else apart from yourself.
And you
Yeah.
really need to start.
Yeah.
So a quarter for rent.
So we have a problem with spending. Let me tell you, and I see this on social media a lot. I see people outside of East Africa, like West Africans, South Africans, North Africans, Central Africans. They say this all the time, that if you go drinking with an East African, you will shock yourself. It's like we're trying to fry our liver
Someone
out
on
here. You
TikTok
get
is actually running so many series saying why they can never go out partying with a Kenyan. Every other Saturday, every other Friday, every other Sunday is
so
party
that's
time.
one thing. People spend
No, but they said
people
your money
spend
can't
a
help
lot
you
of
eat that money. Eat
on
that
liquor.
money. If your money can't
But
help
you see, that's not a literal
That's what they say,
explanation.
not
Yeah,
me.
but it's not a literal. It's not a literal explanation. Guys, sometimes my tongue just decides to fail me.
we move
It's not,
swiftly.
it's not a literal explanation. If I make 50K today, and I decide, you know what I'm gonna do with this 50K, I'm buying myself a new phone worth probably 35. To me, I've eaten that money, just not in food, just not in alcohol. I probably didn't make a wise decision, probably, but I still spent it. Yeah. So at the end of the day,
Your problems, if your money can't solve your problems. But eating the money is how? How do you eat your money? Is you save, take it to your
no,
money
you
market
see, doesn't
fund.
have. You see,
It doesn't really have to
you
be
also, of
misusing
course,
the
you
money.
can't die because you're trying to save your money.
Yeah,
oh,
you
I'm
can.
making
Please don't
100K.
die.
I am saving 100K.
I don't think we are the right people to advise people money matter.
You wouldn't. You know, you're not making sense.
Let's talk about
But-
something that is never in the budget. Black tax.
It always is in the budget.
For you. I am not putting aside money. I say this with love. I am not putting aside money. I am not writing down on my budget. I am putting this money aside to help my family
Do you know
or my
that's
friends. And then they take that exact amount. See, you can approximate that you will be spending $200 on your family and friends. Okay? That is black tax. This is me giving back to my community in quotes because I am a child of the community. But then I tell you, you put 200, they spend 400.
So
200
how will
was
they
supposed to be
spend it
saving.
if you didn't give them? It's at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's
Black
coming
tax
out.
is your
It's
choice.
coming. No. How much you're spending is your choice. It's coming out of your pocket, literally. They cannot go to the bank and take it from you.
They can't.
Or from your phone
but
or
they can
whatever.
convince you with
That's
their problems.
theft. If they're taking it from your phone or your bank, that's theft.
No, let's talk about black tax for a minute. You want to tell me that every black tax you've ever spent is budgeted?
Most of it.
Most of it.
Yes. Everybody understands their situation, guys, right? Yes. Everybody understands their situation.
You don't get weird calls.
I know I have to help person X, person W, person Y, person Z depends on me, blah, blah, blah. I know I know the things they depend on me for, right? So I can say these things will have to fit within this amount of money because I also have to do ABCD for myself, right? It's only, I think, so you might end up spending more than that. That happens not just to black tax. I think it happens to everything. You might say, by the way, this month, I will only spend this amount on my transport. I will only use public means. And then on a certain Friday night, you're out till, I don't know what time,
Uber.
2 a.m. in the morning. You're not going home
I'm just thinking about my money.
with public transport, right? I mean, Uber is technically still public transport.
Oh, wow.
But it's not your car, is it? You're not going, you're not going to use a matatu. You're not going to JAV, right? So you're still going to use more than you had anticipated because of choices you made. Choices have consequences, they always say. Because of choices you made, right? So because of that choice, you've spent more than you had budgeted for when it comes to transport. So it's not every time that you will always stick to a budget. Circumstances will force you sometimes. For example, there's people who, those who have a strict budget and are there to it, they have, you find that they have X amount of money, goes to my medical insurance, or maybe I get ABCD done in a month. Maybe I'm buying supplements. Maybe I always stock my house with painkillers, or maybe with bandages or whatever. So I have a fixed amount of money that I spend when it comes to anything medical. But then you get an accident, for example, and then you have a broken leg, or I don't know, you had food poisoning somewhere or whatever, you have to go to hospital, right? You probably have insurance, but the situations where you're probably going to be hospitalized for longer, or you're going to need, I don't know, such expensive medication happens all the time. How many times have people maxed their insurance cards? You know what I'm saying?
It happens all the time. That's
Yeah.
true.
So you
Or
find
you find
that
yourself in a
now
situation
you can't
where your
stick within
insurance
that
card
budget
cannot work.
because something happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not every single time that you'll be able to stick within your budget.
But I think maybe we should actually tell
But,
people to
yeah.
add the black tax part, to be part of your
Everybody
budget.
knows. Everybody knows.
Not
that
everybody knows.
If your mom needs X amount of money, or if your mom is depending on you, you know that I have to support my mom.
You know now, when,
Or you know
when
I
you
have
say
to
it
support
like
my
that,
sister or my brother. So you're the one who decides. Maybe you're supporting a sister or a sibling who's in school. So you know their school fees is this amount. To add on to their school fees, they need school uniforms, they need a school bag, they probably need new socks, or they need whatever.
Yeah.
That's unto you. That sister will not spend more than you have budgeted
Let me
for,
just
because it's
tell
not
you,
coming from her pocket.
Anyona.
And then the times that it will is because circumstance, like I was telling you, even when it comes to medication, it can always go beyond budget.
It can always go
on
beyond.
the situation.
But when I talk about black tax that is never budgeted for, it's the ones that you didn't see coming. For instance, if you're taking care of a younger sister, you anticipate that is your only responsibility for that family, for instance, yeah? But something happens, yeah? Somebody is, let's just call it as it is, somebody is out there being an East African on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they run out of funds. They call you and they want 2,000 from you. They call you, they want, I don't know, 5,000 from you.
It's easy. If you don't want to give, you say, I don't have, or no, I'm not
there's
giving.
wanting to give, and then there is, you remember you have to pay for that black tax.
So why
it was
do
not
you
part of
have
your
to
budget,
pay?
but you remember you have to pay for black tax. Let me tell you, the
You
idea
see-
behind black tax is as simple as this. It is not necessarily written on said.
Paper.
It's not written anywhere that you have to pay black tax. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to pay it. Let's just call it what it is. You don't have to take care of that a younger sibling of yours. You don't have to do it. You choose to do it, right? We start there. Then there's the question
No,
of
there's situations where
sometimes
people have to.
saying no is more difficult than it is not. So you have your money set and you're there on Friday. You're staying at home because you're a good person.
Challenges. Say no if you don't want to say no.
Imagine
You're
saying
not
no
going
to
to
black
have
tax
fun.
is very difficult. It really is
Honey.
difficult. You've never had someone call you with a serious
You're
problem.
assuming. You're assuming.
People are calling you and their children are in hospitals. Yeah, well, you're going to assume.
So you see, that's an emergency situation. You
People
cannot
call-
run
people
away
call you,
from
then the
that.
police.
And you can
What do
also
you
have an
do?
emergency situation. That's still an emergency situation. But something like going out to have fun on my budget, sis, I'm not doing that. And if I choose to pay for it, I have chosen to. Is what I'm saying.
So I'm saying,
By the
sometimes
way,
you want to be a good person and you choose to pay
set
for
the
all of
record
these
straight.
things.
I can't pay for my sister going out to because I'm not leaving my sister.
Please,
stranded.
Anyona's sister.
I'm not leaving my sister or my brother or my whatever stranded, but we're going to talk about it. You know, and you've chosen to.
Just because you've chosen to does not mean that it was part of your budget.
You cannot go out on my budget.
Just
I will
because-
call ABCD. You cannot do that.
Just because you've made it clear, particularly that I am not going to do this and that for you, or just because you have decided on that occasion or time that I am going to send you this money, despite the fact that, despite all of these decisions that you've made that have gotten you to this point, by the end of the day, money is chucked out of your pot, and that's on period. It was
Because
not
you
money
chose
that was
to.
budgeted for. It was money that was supposed to go to the MMF, and it has not gone to the MMF.
Why hasn't it gone?
It's because
It's still. I will
because
insist.
of things you didn't see coming, and black tax is one of
So
them.
if it was already there, if you had already placed it in your MMF, you're not going to check it at that moment that someone needs it because they're out partying.
you can.
You can't do that. It's not even going to allow you, for one. And then two, so why do you have it in your phone if it was meant to be in your savings account?
It
is
was
what
to
I'm
go that
saying.
evening.
If that's what I'm saying. You cannot have fun on someone else's budget.
If you are strict
Unless-
as Anyona, if you are strict,
cannot. No. You cannot have fun. Here, you go out shopping. You're picking shoes, and then you call me. This is. First of all,
I
I
have
don't have that
2,000.
money.
I needed
First
2,500.
of all, I
Send
don't have
me,
that money.
send me plus fare.
So don't buy it. My siblings keep me in check all the time because they're better at budgeting than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I also will not spend my money on something I don't want to. If I made that bad decision, I made it. You understand?
Alone, you have to suffer the consequences of it.
Even if I won't, but I made that decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way your money will leave your pocket unless you've removed it. Is what I'm saying.
And I am saying you have removed it because you have no other option.
You do. Let me tell you, no is always an answer. No is a complete answer. No, no is a full statement.
You know
no
what?
is a
Let's just
complete
go.
answer.
Let's just run a poll. As many as strict as Anyona in saying no when it comes to black tax and other
I'm not
taxes,
saying no to
especially when
black
it comes
tax.
to shere and
I'm
partying.
not saying no to black tax.
Say-
I'm not saying no to black tax. Let's set the record straight. I am definitely helping out
You're
my
not
family.
saying no to, you're just
But-
saying that it is easier for you to say no when it comes to your money and if it's not budgeted for.
No, I'm saying you will always have a choice, and you're the one who makes a choice. I'm saying that if someone calls you for something that is not an emergency, something that you don't really need that money for, if you give them, you have chosen to give them, and that's on you. I can always ask, but no is a complete answer. I can always ask, have you never been told no in anything? You have, right? It was a
course I
complete
have.
answer. You didn't like it, but it was a complete answer.
It was on period.
And that's on period. You applied for a job somewhere, you didn't get it. that was it.
That was one period. Okay,
Yeah,
well, let's move
it-
to investments. Let's move to
can't
investments.
leave
We
your
could talk about
pocket.
this black tax thing forever, but I have asked, and let's run this poll. If you are like Anyona, the one that says no.
No, the question is, she's asking the wrong questions, guys. She's cornering me, and I'm not going to accept it. The question is, can money leave your pocket unless you want it to leave your pocket?
Is it easy to say no when it comes to money leaving your pocket for anything and everything, including black
no
tax?
to anything, but it's a choice, and you have
When
to.
it comes to money, unless it's not,
It's not
if
easy
it's
to
in my
study,
pocket,
but
it's
you have
getting
to.
used.
It's not easy to sit an exam, but you have to.
You
It's
have
not
to
easy
do
to
it.
wake up for an 8 to 5, but you have to. We like difficulty. We don't like easy. Oh no,
Who
no,
is
I,
we?
I didn't mean that because
is
because
we?
I don't like the economy and it's tough. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, it doesn't have to
Let's
be
just
easy.
move from that swiftly. You just said you like it up. Let's move from that. Let's talk about investments. Young people, do young people invest their money?
They do, but if you're asking all or the majority, then they don't. And that just raises a question of capital. That also raises the question of, capacity building, information, knowledge out there. Because let me just ask you, what are the investment options out there?
There's so many.
Just give me
Actually,
like three.
if you had asked me this question before we talked about the savings, the money market funds, that's one way to invest your money. All right. You can invest your money in money market funds.
Yeah, it's a
You can
saving and
invest
an
your money in
investment at
real
the same
estate.
time.
You can also invest your money in circles. You invest in circles that are working on a project like, again, real estate, and then now you know your money is going to be used for that, and you cannot access it for like a while, and then but when the returns start coming, they come in monthly, they come in weekly, they come in yearly. You can invest in businesses. You can decide to start a business. And I think that is the one thing that most young people are actually doing. They're investing in businesses, online businesses.
Question: how tough is it to invest when you don't have a stable source of income? 1 to 10. When 1 being the least, 10 being the highest. I feel like
When you
an
don't
online
have, I feel
poll
like
right now.
this is my view. I feel like if you don't have a stable source of income, you know that next month, I don't know where my income is coming from. You're more likely to invest than someone who has a stable source of income. Someone who has this job security, like they're employed, for instance, by the government, they know they're not getting fired anytime soon. They have money coming in every now and then. It is very difficult for them to invest. You find people like that now getting into, like they want to put their money in liabilities, like building a house and things like that. On the other hand, we have someone who doesn't have a stable source of income. I think building a house is a liability. But let's move on from there. I don't think it's an investment that's going to give you income. Because the difference between...
Does an investment have to give you income?
Yes, that's for an investment to become an asset, it gives you income. If it doesn't, then it's a liability. That's, I think, the definition. Yeah, so you find people who have job security and they're sure that I'm going to be getting this money every end of month. They focus on liabilities. Yeah, they focus on buying a car.
Building a house is definitely not a liability.
I feel like if you look at it from the financial definition of liability, it doesn't give you income.
If you don't have a house, you're paying rent.
Yes.
If you have a house, you're saving your rent money. Simple.
Okay, it's still a liability. It's not giving you profits by the end of the day.
It's stopping you from spending that money on rent.
Okay,
monthly giving it away to someone else.
My point exactly would have to be that if someone is
you're talking about just
stable source of
you're
income,
talking about something that is going to be giving you money money
every now and then,
every month or every 1 week, every bi-monthly, bi-annually, whatever.
Okay. I'm just saying that people who have a stable source of income, in my view, are less likely to put that money into an investment circle immediately. We're talking about the person that knows that I'm not sure about my next month, but you're sure about your next month. You're more likely to buy a car than I am, because I do not know about my tomorrow, you see. So I'm more likely to invest because I'm hoping that investment will come in handy when I don't have that mullah. But you, because you have that, you will invest. Yes, I'm not saying they don't invest. I'm just saying that the likeliness of youths to invest is actually higher today, even with the unemployment rates and even with the insecurity that I'm not sure where I'm going to be tomorrow. It's actually higher.
It's interesting that you think people who don't have a stable source of income are more likely to invest. I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just saying I think they're more likely to find more sources of income, which might fail to be getting into investments, because again, that means your capital is very questionable, and most investments actually any investment needs some sort of capital. So it's interesting though. I saw somewhere that East African youths save 42%. I mean, invest 42% into businesses and 34 into family. How are people investing into family?
How are you investing into family? It could be education. You're educating someone. It could be that. It could be. It could be family.
Maybe
land.
family businesses.
It could be agriculture. This was a poll by Geopol, I assume.
Yeah,
by Geopol. So they are saying that 42% invest in businesses, 34, and this is just among the percentages that invest. Because this is approximately 80 something percent are the ones that say they invest. Because we have a good percentage of youths that don't invest. They don't even know the first thing about investment opportunities.
They do. They just don't know how to start.
They don't know how to start. Yeah. What are some of the investment opportunities? Could you share with us today? Just
I think I always feel like the easiest or the most easily accessible is businesses. So you find a solution, you find a problem, and you find a solution to it. That's just the easiest way.
I think online works are really, really doing it today. And the income comes in immediately after you invest. So if you invest in either trading...
And they can always go wrong as well.
And everything can go wrong.
It's a very huge gamble. Sometimes it feels like gambling. I'm not saying it is, but it feels like. Let's get the wording right.
Do you invest?
Yeah. Myself? If MMFs count, then yeah. And if you're asking, do I have plans? Yes, I do have plans.
Yeah.
But have I gotten to the actualization of the plans? Then
and
no.
Most youths are like
that.
You can't necessarily say that you invest in something in particular. Yeah, you get your money and you have managed to survive with that money. You've managed to have a stable income. Yes, I'm talking about me. But really, investments, they don't find themselves being a priority because, like you said, capital matters. And most of the investment opportunities, at least the ones that have high returns,
it doesn't, but it's very
the capital is where it's there. There's a lot of money that is needed for you to start. But I think we need to recognize that there are places you can start with as low as 100 shillings.
Yeah.
That's as low as that's $1.
Just give me one example. I promise you, after this, I'm going to invest with my $1.
Well, I told you I consider money market funds as investment. Sort of because at least you get when the money appreciates, you get the money back.
Yeah.
So you.
Well, Geshi, let's wrap this conversation about money. I feel like we will never finish.
We will never finish a conversation about money, and you will always disagree. And you'll always disagree. And
will we?
We will. We cannot agree that I am going to save my money by the end of this month with the 50-20-30 budget trail. I think for me, I want to stay in a nice place. I just want to stay in a nice place where my rent is more than half my salary. It's just hard to say it. So I think with that,
my jaw is dropping, but I'm going to have that conversation with you later.
But let us culminate that conversation right here on the Speak Up Africa podcast. My name is Wangeshi Karimi, and today we were discussing money matters. We were trying to understand how do you save your money, how do you spend it, where do you get your money from? And Anyona learned something new. She learned about the Kupiga set. Yes, you sit and you get paid for sitting. It happens. And when you get broke enough, you know where to get the money from. We talked about money market funds. No, I'm not going to sit in
someone's car the whole day waiting for...
It's called standards and class.
No, it's not class. It's options. It's choices.
Okay, you choose your other informal sector to do.
We always have choices.
Okay, well then, Anyona said we always have choices. Make the choice to start saving today. It is time to begin. It's never too late to begin. Begin now. Start saving up your money. Start investing in those money market funds. You can start with as little as you have. That is all from us. This is Speak Up Africa podcast. Check us out on www.speakupafrica.net, Africa with a K, and our social media handles, which are
Speak Up Africa. The K is always constant. Now, my name is Anyona Bulungu, but make sure to continue this conversation everywhere because I want to know all your saving plans, all your saving means, all your investment options, and your expenditure. Do you consider yourself someone who's a spendthrift, or you actually know how to work out your funds?
Yeah, and tell us about black tax. Do you say no when they call? Do you say no just because it was not in your budget? Do you say no? Are you as stiff as Anyona is? That is all from us today.
She's lying. I don't say no, yeah. But that is it. Guys, see you next week on our next episode. Speak Up Africa. K is constant.